This podcast is dedicated to sharing the practice of meditation, the philosophy of Western Buddhism, and the refuge and love of our TBC Sangha. Offering solutions that are simple, practical, and true. We believe happiness and better health are available to all people and for all people. We are here each week to lend wisdom and support to all who are making or considering making this journey. This is On the Range. Hello and good day. Welcome to episode number 16 of On the Range. I'm your host. My name is Whit, and I'm happy that you are here with us today. Our co-hosts for this presentation are Rodney and Tammy Buckallew. Welcome, Tammy and Rodney. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Whip. It's an honor to be here.
I hope that you still feel like it's an honor when we're done, but that's a good start. So let's start off by giving you guys an opportunity just to tell our audience a little bit about yourselves.
Okay. I am currently retired. I've worked in administration since age 17. I am a mother of 2 and a grandmother of 6, ages 23 to 12. Rodney and I have been married for 48 years, going on 49 in July.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I also co-facilitate a class at Temple Buddhist Center called Healing Arts and Hearts, which meets the first Sunday and third Sunday of every month. The first Sunday is a healing modality such as art therapy or Reiki, sound therapy. We've done just a number of different things. And the third Sunday is more of a support shoe group.
Great. How long have you guys been doing that now?
It's been 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. It was called something different before, but Healing Arts and Hearts had been about a year, actually. And to tag team onto that, Tammy and I were both born here in Kansas City. We moved away a couple of times and then came back. We just actually moved back 2.5 years ago, back to Kansas City. But we actually, while we've been married 48, almost 49 years, we've been together going on 51 years. And a funny story there, we actually didn't know it at the time, but Tam's grandparents lived right down the street from my uncle's. We used to play together as kids and didn't even know each other. And that was in Gladstone, Missouri. And then here we got back together some years later. So
you guys have been together longer than you've been alive.
I know, exactly right. So the other thing I wanted to mention is Tam mentioned our 6 grandchildren. We wrote children's books for each one of those. Tam wrote a book on depression that we published as well. So that's a little bit about us. I hope that helps.
Yeah, appreciate that. So let's get a little more specific to how and what got you guys started on Western Buddhism as a spiritual practice.
Yeah, so the conditions have always been right for me way back a long time ago, even when I was in high school. I read a book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Sure.
And it was like, that kind of piqued my curiosity. And so I started exploring there just a little bit in the fact that I remember one time that I was sitting on a cushion in my room in my parents' house, and I was listening to Ravi Shankar. And I went into this really deep meditation, and it was the coolest thing I'd ever been through in my entire life. And then it just fast forwarded from there to the point where I started going to ABC, American Buddhist Center, in the 90s with Ben Worth. He was my first teacher there at ABC, and then just continued down that path. So the conditions were right for me to follow this journey.
So for you, Rodney, is it fair to say that you've kind of identified with Buddhism for 30 years? Is that about?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I tried on the Christian hat, if you will, for a while, and it never fit. And so, yeah.
I bet it looked great, though, on you.
As far as my path, I was raised Christian, and Rodney, of course, as he said, started in the 90s. And when we would come back to visit, I would go with him occasionally. I've really been into Buddhism the last 2 years, and it has just really helped me become more self-compassionate with myself
Yeah.
toward others. It's just an easy, I don't want to say easy necessarily, but it's just much more flowing than the Christian faith was to me.
Okay. Well, I think there's a lot of people that come to Western Buddhism with similar stories for both of you guys. Some people find a book early in life,
Right.
and find that as a hook or an entryway. But I think also a lot of us were at least had some experience growing up with the Christian church. I don't want to make it sound like that's a problem. I don't want to come
no,
across
no.
as being anti-Christian, because that's
Right.
not who I want to be on this podcast.
Right.
But I do think it's interesting that you try to find some spiritual
Yeah.
connection, and
And, you know,
sometimes that's just not where it's at for you.
and different people have different faith, and that's okay too. This just fit me, and I think it fit Tammy very well. So yeah, it fit our lives.
So, how has being on this path changed your lives for each of you or as a couple?
For me, as I mentioned earlier, it has helped me with self-compassion, self-kindness, and it's helped me see the Buddha nature in myself as well as others. We, as a couple, are able to discuss the teachings,
Hmm.
and we're here to support each other through our journey.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's incredibly fertile ground for a couple to have something like that. You know what I mean? Kind of a space
Mhm.
where you can work through the challenges of being a couple.
Mhm.
I'm not sure, after as long as you guys have been together, that you guys still have challenges. I feel like your love has just outlived all the challenges. But but again, it is so great to have that space. And
Yeah.
I think what we do and what we practice, that's one of the biggest benefits, is just having more space.
For me, what I've learned through my path is more awareness of identification of feelings, and that includes compassion for others and for other people and for other things completely. And so that's what really has changed in my life since I started practicing Buddhism. And then naturally, as Tam was saying, the sharing and the reflecting and understanding and sense of calm and peace that the Buddhism brings for me.
I don't want to speak to your relationship, and I appreciate you guys sharing, by the way, but it really intrigues me because couples sometimes struggle to find a place to communicate. It's very difficult. And I've been married for 30, I think it'll be 33 years here in a couple of weeks. So remind me in 10 days that I owe my wife a gift. But it's been my experience that sometimes it's really hard to find, like I said, a place where no one's taking it personally or feeling, I don't know, attacked is too strong a word, but can feel like just at that neutral area to talk about these
Sure.
big things, and not get them tangled up with the everyday challenges of a long-term relationship.
Sure.
That's tremendous. And hopefully some of our listeners will find that beneficial. There's so many good reasons to practice Western Buddhism.
There are. Yeah.
And I don't know that we've covered that on this show after 15 episodes as to what it means to a couple, or what it can mean to just
Yeah.
have that space,
Yeah.
to have those real heart to heart important talks framed in a compassionate and very aware and respectful.
Yeah. And I think
Sure.
that's a relationship that Tam and I have always had. In effect even since the time that I was 15, it's always been a strong friendship and a strong bond. And we were able to talk about a lot of different things and share our experiences, and yet still have our thoughts and beliefs or what have you. But nonetheless, we do come together a lot on the practice of Buddhism.
Mhm.
Do you guys have a favorite aspect of Western Buddhism you could share?
I love the teachings and the meditation, the self-reflection. And Victor has just been a wonderful teacher. at TBC
And friend.
and friend. So I think just the ease of it for me would be the favorite aspect for me, not feeling like I'm going in and being judged or that my feelings are right or wrong or, that I have to be a certain way to be accepted.
Yeah. And I think that that's it for me as well. The total acceptance from of Buddhism for all walks of life, if you will, the non-judgment. But when you and I have talked about this just a little bit, and the fact that when I first started down the Buddhist path, the meditation's always important to me. It always feels great to me. But as I've gotten a little older, what really rings true to me is the Sangha. I just love our spiritual community, the friendships that we've developed, listening to people's stories and finding out about them and what brought them to Buddhism and what their thoughts are about life, if you will. And so the Sangha means so much to me now. And what Victor's done in regards to growing the Sangha is just enhance that completely. Because of the fact that so many people are so willing to help and do things like this broadcast, for example, and healing arts and hearts and all of the grow your practice. And I won't go through the full list, but my gosh, the Sangha is just incredible anymore. So that's one of my favorites today.
I found it also, I find it really interesting with Western Buddhism because of the time frame that it exists in. It hasn't been part of our culture for very long. Maybe 75 years, maybe less, but because there isn't thousands of years behind it, it's a lot more dynamic and it's a lot more not volatile, but it changes quicker. It's more accepting. It's amazing to me what a spiritual practice that's in fact older than Christianity can still be so flexible and can still come to a different part of the world and fit in and offer so much hope and joy. So that's always been kind of my favorite aspect of it. And frankly, it was not something that I considered. I never wanted to be a Buddhist. That was never part of it. I certainly have always felt the way I feel about certain aspects, of trying to have less suffering, certainly, but also just my draw to nature and the fact that I never really found any other spiritual practice that really fit me other than this.
Right.
But it's just amazing to me that as you peel it, it's just like peeling an onion or peeling an ogre. No matter what it is, there's just all these layers to it, and you never really get to the end, and that's beautiful. It's part of that growth as you go along.
Absolutely.
So, you mentioned meditation. Do you have a current practice? Do both of you practice now? And what's it look like right now?
Yeah, it has changed significantly over the period of time because I used to kind of put this pressure on myself that I had to sit on a cushion and time my meditation and at a certain time of the day or what have you. And over time, I've learned it comes in all kinds of forms. It doesn't have to be on a cushion on a Sunday morning or whatever the case may be. I meditate regularly when I'm sitting outside in the morning having coffee, just sitting outside and watching the world go by, or when I'm taking a walk. So I've learned meditation comes in a lot of different forms because the fact that what it is just awareness, self-awareness of my surroundings, and here's where I am and here's what I'm doing. Don't plan my dinners or whatever, just walk and be out or just sit and watch. So my meditations practice has changed significantly.
What about you, Tammy?
I would say that I sit still every day and I reflect and I'm much more in tune with myself over the years. Much, as Rodney mentioned, much more aware of my feelings and emotions and thoughts that go on throughout the day versus having them catch up with me at the end of the day.
Right.
That's what I would say for myself.
I think it's interesting with meditation also, and I've practiced for a long time, 20 plus years. And that's how I got here, was through meditation. I just kind of came to some of these realizations. It helped me develop who I was and how I wanted to be, or maybe develop's probably the wrong word, but discover who I really was. And that led me to this beautiful match with some of the teachings, or all of the teachings really, with Western Buddhism. But I think it's interesting that when you start a practice, it can be helpful to be disciplined and to have a space, have a time, set a time, do it in a certain way, because it helps you develop that, not discipline, but maybe comfort with it. Because it's really difficult to say, okay, you're going to sit there and not do anything, and just notice what happens. And so having that to begin with, some guidelines can be really helpful. But as you practice, you start to realize that, hey, it's already, what I'm learning here is already blending into the rest of my life. So my meditation can be less formal if that's where I want to take it. And I think you were both kind of talking about that. A formal meditation sitting practice is very valuable, but you can transition that to just being more mindful throughout the day. And that idea that your life becomes your practice is so true as you kind of wander along on this journey.
I think that that's exactly right. Your life becomes your practice, or your practice becomes your life, however we want to say it, and spin that. But yeah. And that includes the compassion for others, and not just our own internal practice on how we practice our beliefs, but also how we treat others. It becomes part of our life. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I think all of us just agreed that your practice becomes your life. How satisfactory is that from an egoic standpoint to realize that that's what your life is?
Actually, I find it very rewarding, and maybe part of that is age, but it just brings a sense of calm. So therefore, it really benefits life completely. I mean, that doesn't mean that I'm not human. If somebody cuts me off while I'm driving, yeah, I still get angry. But what the change is that I'm aware of that.
Right.
I'm aware of that. Okay, this is that feeling that came up. Why did that feeling come up? And that type of self-analysis type thing, which is what Buddhism has taught me, awareness of what's happened. So
I would agree with you. By the way, that's probably as close as we've come to having to stop the whole podcast for an edit. But I was just thinking, because that's not really something we were originally going to cover here, but it's become clear to me that is a worthwhile endeavor for me anyway.
Yeah.
Is living that sort of life, because it's authentic. It's who I am, and it applies to everything. And the things that are worth pursuing go hand in hand with the authentic me and the authentic life that I want to live. And things that don't, they naturally fall away, or they become too much of a burden to carry, I think is what I found. So again, it's a little bit different than where we were going originally, but I'm in the same boat. Tammy, did you want to add anything to that?
I think the self-awareness definitely resonates with me, and being able to respond versus react is another aspect that has really helped me. Sit with that emotion, figure out how you want to respond, not just react to it.
I think also, at least for me right now, the biggest lesson has been trying to be with those feelings, but not to get caught up in the story.
That's right.
I think I've gotten much better, if better's the right word, but much more comfortable with that. And I've been able to shorten that cycle, but it still happens, and it's still a challenge. I'm 60 years old, for God's sakes, and I've been telling myself stories since I figured out how to do it. That was one way to get through life. You were trying to figure out what was going on, and you start to realize that you don't know. What you might know is probably going to change. None of it probably matters, because all of it's impermanent, so those lessons have really helped take some of the sting out of that. But I have been, like I said, working with that idea of, hey, let's shorten the story, or let's stay away from the story as much as we can.
Right. Right. Exactly.
That was one of those famous moments in the podcast where I didn't actually ask a question. I just talked. So you're both incredibly active in the Sangha. And I've noticed, since we've become friends over the last couple of years, that you love the way you guys treat everyone and go out of your way to make everyone welcome, me included. But what's being a part of the Sangha mean to you all?
For me, it's a special connection to others
Absolutely.
and the support and feeling of belonging.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd add anything more to that because the fact that we've made so many friends and the whole thing of feeling like we belong and helping others feel like they belong as well. So that's what the Sangha means to me is this such a strong sense of community that I've never felt before. Yeah.
And I love being of service to others.
Yeah. Agreed.
So for me, meditation was the gateway, and that's still probably the anchor. And then from that, certainly some of the teachings, I say some, not because some are right and some are not right, but just I've always been kind of limited with my approach to the teachings because I feel like part of the beauty of what we're doing is the simplicity. Just be aware, accept what you find, be patient, be kind, try not to want,
That's
keep an eye on wanting, keep an eye on fear, try not to be afraid. If, it's okay to be cautious, but let's not, cut down on the stories. But for me, the one of the biggest benefits that came very late in this whole equation was being a part of a Sangha. Was that true for you all?
Yeah, yeah, and yes, absolutely. And what you were saying also about being light with others and being light with yourself. I mean, life is short, as we know, and just have fun, and just be pleasant and have a nice time. And that's what I really find also with the sanghas when we go on Sundays or when we do anything else with the sangha. It's just enjoyable to be around people. Listen to their life, let me put it that way, and their stories. So what do you
Mhm.
think?
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Yes.
A smile goes a long way. So
It does. And, the other thing that I think I don't have a lot of experience with other sanghas, although I have a little bit. I try
yeah.
to attend meditation sessions in other cities when I travel for work. It
Mhm.
doesn't happen a lot, but it's happened a few times. And what I've noticed is because of this practice and these guidelines, even though different places do it a little bit different, I think Western Buddhism, and along with a practice of some sort, allows you to become more authentic. And I think what we see every Sunday in our Sangha is that authentic people are kind and open and of service naturally. And because it's this natural thing, not only do you enjoy being around these people, but also you start to see people do want to serve. And so you were mentioning some of the offerings that our Sangha currently has in the works
Mhm.
or is currently executing. And it's just because it flows naturally because people are authentic, which is another thing that I didn't really think was all that important when I started this journey. But what are your thoughts on the power of just people being authentic and being their true selves?
Wow, that's a great question. I think that it's hard for some people. I know I wouldn't want to be any other way other than
Yeah.
being authentic.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Because it just isn't who I am.
I would agree with that. And who I am is what you see. And that's about as authentic as I can be to everyone else. What my beliefs are is what I try and convey in my everyday world and to other people. So
I love that quote. I wouldn't want to be any other way. Later, when we edit this, I'm going to edit you out and then I'm going to say that. That's how much I love it. But yeah, that is so helpful and it's so true. It's so freeing. It goes back to, hey, this is the life I want to lead because it's authentic and I'm not chasing dollars. I'm not chasing fame. I'm
right,
not trying to
right.
get the most stuff or be the most popular, just being me. And when you can do that, when you strip away all that other stuff, you become so powerful and strong and certainly healthier and happier. It's just amazing what that can give you.
For me, it's also trying to keep trying to keep the child mind and that sense of awe, that sense of fun, that sense of being light and playful. That's what it is for me. And as a matter of fact, that's part of the lesson I would impart to other people is be light and be patient. And I've heard a lot of people going, "Oh, I can't meditate because my mind just chatters too much." That's okay. It's fine. what I learned from my first teacher, Ben Worth, was let it go. If it chatters, okay, follow it through, but let it go after that. If you're meditating and the dogs bark and they pull you out, don't get frustrated with it. Just be patient, let it go. Where does the sound go anyway? Who knows?
Right.
It's a child mind that I try and keep. It's going to Disneyland, and the minute I walk through Disneyland, I'm 8 years old again. I'm just in awe and having fun. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
It absolutely did. It also sounded a little bit like the opening to Grow Your Practice. That's exactly because that's such a challenge for people. They're not used to devoting time and energy to just paying attention to what's going on inside of them. So it's a huge foreign place that they're going to. And some people, lots of people, because it feels so different and it's not the way they were brought up, they kind of look for reasons not to stay there. I don't know that it's so much fear. It's so easy to say, I can't do this. They think that meditation is supposed to be a certain way or a certain thing.
Right.
And it's not. It's really, just like you said, it's really just the attitude that you're developing, the acceptance, that child mind that you want to discover and stay with, because that's your true self, getting out of your ego, all those things. But yeah, that's so true. And that stuff is, as you start to work through it, I think it's funny, Rodney, how after a while, you mentioned the dog barking or a noise that disrupts your meditation. You start to welcome those things, not because you want to be distracted, but because it happens and you're like, great, that was the dog barking.
Absolutely.
Go back to it.
Yeah.
You get comfortable with that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys a little bit about what's the experience been facilitating the healing arts and hearts. What's that like? What's it mean to you guys? Just give me a quick run through if you can.
It's been absolutely amazing.
And
rewarding. I love the healing modality. The first Sunday I've ever met. Each time we have somebody different, and it's just so powerful each time. And then the third Sunday, of course, is the support/share group, but that can also be very powerful. It's a safe place to come and share your feelings and be supported by others.
Yeah. And what we found over the last couple of years, because we've been doing this in one fashion or another, is especially with the holidays coming up, the holidays are so tough on people that they struggle. And the sharing has really helped a lot in regards to, as Tam said, a safe place for people to come and share their emotion and get the support perhaps that they need during the harder times, not just the holidays, but I mean, throughout the year as well, but especially around the holidays, it's hard for people.
So with the holidays coming up, are you guys fans of the holidays?
I love Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And I love the fall. Christmas is a little tougher for me, just because of background. But yes, I love the holidays.
I absolutely love all the holidays. We decorate a lot for all of the holidays. As a matter of fact, we decorated for fall, and then we took it down for Halloween, and then put fall back up, Halloween down, fall back up, and I started hanging Christmas lights. So it goes with the child mind that I was talking about.
Absolutely.
Just enjoying the holidays. They're a lot of fun for me, but I do understand, and I appreciate the fact that, again, for a lot of other people, it's a struggle for them. And what I would say is, how to get through that is reach out definitely to someone, and so you can talk to them. And I know that Tam's real good about that. She has people reach out on a regular basis.
Do you guys have people that attend Healing Arts and Hearts that maybe don't go to TBC?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's so interesting. We get that as well in Grow Your Practice. So we run, for anyone who's not aware, we run the opposite, same classroom, opposite Sundays. So Healing Arts and Hearts is first and third, and Grow Your Practice is second and fourth. So we're like ships passing in the night, only on Sundays though, in classroom B. But I find that so rewarding that what we're what the TBC or what the song is offering is being embraced by people that don't generally make TBC their home, that are interested in the services, right? And it's nice to have that other sub sangha is what I'm going to call that. But I was curious if you guys were seeing that as well. Also, I just want to thank you guys for facilitating that. It's a great offering, and really appreciate you guys putting in the time and effort and sharing like that. That's wonderful.
We love it. So we do love it.
Is there anything you guys would like to share as we bring this to a close? Any advice for people who might be interested in starting a practice or interested in Buddhism or a favorite book? Anything at all? I'm going to give you guys 2 whole minutes to sum up your entire spiritual existence.
Come to Temple Buddhist Center. Try it out. See if it resonates with you. Be a part of the Sangha and just enjoy.
Yeah. And mine would be, again, keep a child mind about you. You know, I remember in the 90s walking into ABC, or what we call TBC today, for the first time. And it felt like home, which was amazing in itself, because sometimes we put these preconceived notions on what it's supposed to be instead of just letting the flow. And so I would say, keep the child mind about you, about your practice and the awe of the world and life, and to be able to receive new experiences. Just keep it simple. It's so simple, and it's so lasting and loving if you just allow it to happen to you.
Thank you both for co-hosting this week's episode. Also, thank you for all you do for the community and for your support of me and this offering. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Win.
Well, thank you for your friendship, Win.
I also want to thank all of our listeners, and remember that you can find us on Spotify and Amazon, as well as the TBC Facebook page and the TBC Discord channel. Feel free to leave any questions or comments on those platforms, or you can email us at omontherange@gmail.com. Episodes of Om on the Range are available every week. We drop those on Friday. This is episode 16 of Om on the Range, signing off and wishing you all happy trails.
Thank you to Mr. Tim Behrens for producing this episode, and thank you to Brad Athey for providing the music. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey as we discuss meditation and Western Buddhism and celebrate the path to a happier and healthier life. Less suffering and more joy are available to all people. While we cannot control what happens to us, we can control how we react. It just takes practice. Until next time, stay grounded and find peace in the simple, practical solutions. This is Om on the Range, wishing you happy trails.